Pagan Origins of Christmas, Part 3. Symbols of Christmas. Symbols of Christmas. Consider the pagan roots of these popular Christmas symbols. Number 1, Christmas tree. The sacred tree of the winter god. The Druids believed the spirit of their gods resided in the tree. Most ancient pagans knew the tree represented Nimrod, reincarnated into Tammuz. Pagans also looked upon the tree as a phallic symbol. Phallic is another scientific term of referring to the male reproductive organ. And then they would put balls on the tree, and that's self-explanatory what them represent. But again, the Druids believed the spirit of their gods resided in the tree, because again, the tree was green year-round and never died. And rather than just understand how the evergreen tree works, like I said, they mystified it and thought there was an element of immortality with this tree, so you can see why Semiramis associated Nimrod with the evergreen tree after his death, and that his spirit lived in the tree kind of gimmick. Second pagan Christmas symbol. Number 2, star. A 5-pointed star, the pentalpha, is a powerful symbol of Satan, second only to the hexagram. The star is a sacred symbol of Nimrod and has nothing to do with Christianity. And also, a star represents angels, according to Revelation chapter 1 and verse 20. And that star being Satan, and see, that's why individuals are, not pressured, but swayed to place a star on top of the tree, or exalt Satan to the pinnacle of that, especially when he can get people who call themselves Christians to do it in Christ's name kind of thing. So the third symbol, Christmas symbol, candles. Now, it's not evil to have a candle in your house, but the reason that candles were lit, well, I'll read. And again, I'm reading, I don't think I mentioned what book I'm reading from. This is Occult Holidays or God's Holy Days Which by Fred R. Coulter. Very excellent read, goes into a lot of detail. Third element, candles, represent the sun god's newly born fire. Pagans the world over love and use candles in their rituals and ceremonies. Certain colors are also thought to represent specific powers. The extensive use of candles is usually a very good indication that a service is pagan, regardless of the outward trappings. And I'm reminded too, in The Plain Truth About Christmas, Mr. Armstrong wrote how candles were lit to encourage the waning sun god as he reached the lowest parts of the southern sky. Number 4, mistletoe is a sacred plant of the Druids, symbolizing pagan blessings of fertility. Thus, kissing under the mistletoe is the first step in the reproductive cycle, or more correctly, the fornication cycle. Number 5, wreaths are associated with fertility and the circle of life. Being circular, they also represent the female sexual organ. And also, before the winter solstice took on the name Christmas, it was called the Saturnalia, and where they would put the wreaths would be on buildings that they specifically set aside to worship the sun god at. So it all has to do with spirit elements that most people who observe Christmas don't even realize. Number 6, Santa Claus. The mythical attributes and powers ascribed to Santa are eerily close to those possessed by Jesus Christ. Because supposedly Santa sees you when you're sleeping, so that's kind of creepy, huh? He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, because Santa Claus apparently is omnipotent, meaning he's everywhere, and he's omnipotent, meaning he knows everything, because he's omnipresent also everywhere at all times. Those are the attributes of Jesus Christ and God the Father, not of Santa Claus. All right. Number 7, reindeer are horned animals representing the horn god or the stag god of pagan religion. Santa traditionally has a team of 8 reindeer. In satanic geometry, 8 is the number of new beginnings or the cycle of reincarnation. That's why often in the old days, Pagan Sunday was referred to as the quote-unquote 8th day of the week, when it's actually the first day, Pagan Sunday. All right. Number 8, elves are imp-like creatures who are Satan's little helpers. I purposely didn't say that on purpose. Elves are imp-like creatures who are Santa's little helpers, or Satan's demons. See, those are what the elves are. They're the demons. Number 9, green and red are the traditional colors of the season, as they are the traditional pagan colors of winter. And in part 2, I explained, or maybe it was part 1. I think it was part 1, I explained why the colors are red and green. So check out part 1 for more information. And the 10th symbol this book covers is December 25th. Was also known as to the Romans as Saturnalia. So before 325 AD, it was known as the Saturnalia. Then it got relabeled as Christmas. So number 10. December 25th was also known to the Romans as Saturnalia, a time of deliberate debauchery, drinking through repeated toastings known as wassail, was a feature of this celebration. The mistletoe symbolized fornication, and the entire event was finished with a great feast, the Christmas dinner. So there's one of these I desired to go more in depth into them. It was, I think it was Santa Claus. Because see, Santa's the judge, and I didn't get into this in the December 6th video about the Eve of St. Nicholas, but originally Santa Claus had a demon with him on a chain, and his name varied. In Germany, he was called Neck Rupert, or he was known in other parts of Europe as Krampus. And then there's, Santa Claus came with a demon on a chain, and it's pretty wild when you actually look into the myths of Santa and where it originated. Okay, so again, if you want more info on Santa, check out part 2. So those are just 10 main symbols of this pagan holiday that I desired to bring to the surface. And these videos are aimed at attacking these pagan traditions, not at those who observe them and think they're doing right when they're not. I'm showing you that these things are pagan, and because I believe the next part of this Christmas series will be called Baal Berith, where Baal, like part 1 talked about, was the false god Nimrod who they'd sacrificed their firstborn to at the winter solstice. But Berith means covenant. And so you actually make a covenant with Baal by bringing this tree into the house, because spirits like to associate themselves with physical items. So if you bring them physical items in your house, them spirits are allowed to come in. So that's why Jeremiah 10 says not to bring a Christmas tree into your house or put a wreath on your door, because the wreath in the Roman time signified this structure, this building, is dedicated for worship of the sun god during the winter solstice, and so putting a wreath on your front door would have the same exact repercussions in the spiritual realm. So stay tuned, because until Christmas Day itself, we're pounding this pagan tradition into the ground where it's supposed to be.
See you in hell.